Hello, this is the solutions to the linear motion homework problems. One of the things I really want you to try to do when you go through things like this that are more mathematical is to resist the urge to plug and chug and to think about how to solve problems. In other words, think about what information you know, what information you're trying to find, and the fact that many times there can be multiple ways to get there. So I listed that over here. I think my scan cut off a little bit, unfortunately. So if you're just trying to memorize a particular formula to do something, that's not going to work well for you in physics in the long run. Partly because it's about sense making, and the other thing is because probably if you look at your textbook, there's 1,000 formulas in there, and you can't memorize them all. You need to think about what makes sense, how to solve it, and do you have a mathematical model that allows you to do that? All right, so for the first one, which is PC 24, I hope you appreciate the names from the physics classroom. It's Windblown Hare and Can't Swim Ashore. They're sailboating, so they know how far, they know the amount of acceleration, and then they know how much time that acceleration is happening for. So we use a simplest version of one of those formulas. I believe it's formula 2 on your formula sheet. Might be a little bit different one on the notes that I gave you. So we come up with around 47 meters. That is a pretty quick plug and chug. For PC2, the average velocity is equal to change in position over time. So we're able to get the change in position, get the change in time. That's around 90.7 meters per second. This comes out to change of velocity over time is equal to acceleration. If you got an answer that is half of this, basically what you did is you took that divided by time again, and that's a problem. Or pardon me, you took this and divided by time. So you would have gotten an answer about half of this. You need to look at a formula that makes sense. So you could use either of those two things. If you use delta V over delta T, you can't use 90.7 minus 0 over 4.437 because that's an average velocity, whereas what we're looking at is a final velocity. So you would have to solve for final velocity first, which would actually be double this. It would be around 181 meters per second. Okay, and that's right down there. So if you solve this and then went back and plugged that in to the delta V, 181 minus 0, you would have still gotten this correct answer. But 90.7 divided by the time does not get you that answer. For PC13, I use the graph to help me solve things. The slope of a velocity time graph is acceleration. The area of velocity time graph is equal to displacement. In this case, that's the distance traveled since we've got all positive numbers. You could also find this displacement out with a formula. You could find the calculation for acceleration with the formula of Vf minus Vi over t, which essentially is the same thing we did with slope. For number 18, I used a formula based on the information that was given. If it's a takeoff speed, that's a final velocity. My initial velocity for the airplane starts from rest. We know the acceleration. You want to find out the length of the runway. That's about 650 feet, which is about right for a small airplane. So notice I use this. I believe it's a version of Formula 3 on your official formula sheet. For number 20, I wrote down all the information to find the acceleration. Final minus initial velocity, it should be negative because the person is going from a positive velocity to a smaller positive velocity. And then in order to find out the displacement that's traveled during that time, I used this formula. There are other ways you could do that. For PC28, I hope you like the names. Again, the name was Look Out Below. Reached a terminal speed of 10.4 meters per second. Now that seems like it would be a final velocity, but it's actually an initial velocity because it's what's happening before the person drops their camera. They drop the camera from 52.1 meters. Notice I'm putting delta y instead of delta x. It doesn't really matter. I could put delta y in there as well because we're thinking about the vertical direction. So to find the speed just before it hits the ground, I used this formula, which is a version of Formula 3. I got 33.6 meters per second. And then to find the time, there's a couple ways I could have done that. The easiest one was change in velocity over acceleration, which is a rearrangement of this formula, which is a version of Formula 1 on your formula sheet. For PC30, this is actually a cool thing. I want to show a brief video about this. It's something in free fall. You should have recognized, both from the fact that it's at the top of the instructions on this, or the homework that I gave out, and it was mentioned in the chapter in your book, that we think of free fall acceleration as being around 9.8 meters per second every second. So notice I used delta y again instead of delta x. Not a big deal. Solves for time, 5.19 seconds. Final velocity is equal to 0 plus an acceleration times time, so that's around 51 meters per second. For problem 8, this is a lead-in to projectile problems, which we will be solving. And you probably think you don't have enough information because you're only given the total time and the person throws it and then catches it. I probably should have mentioned that they catch it at the same height as it was thrown. So thinking about that, you should know from free information the acceleration is pointing downward at 9.8 meters per second. Velocity at the tippy top would be 0 because it's not moving up or down. And because of the symmetry, the time up is equal to the time down, which is equal to half the total time, and that's 1.78 seconds. Because of the symmetry of the problem also, since gravity is slowing it down all the way up and speeding it up all the way down, the final velocity before it's caught is the same as the velocity with which it's going to be thrown. That's interesting to think about because ignoring air resistance, that's true. Now, for things that travel very fast, we can't ignore air resistance, but essentially, people who are stupid and like shoot a gun up and shoot a bullet up in the air, that bullet comes down just about as fast as coming up. So it's a really dangerous thing. The hint here is really important. I like to think of either the first half or the second half of the problem because it helps me out and I can put those two pieces together. I tend to like to think of the second half of the problem if there's this symmetry because gravity is acting down, so I could think of gravity down as positive and I can think of my velocity down as positive. That way I don't have to deal with negatives. But you could think of it on the way up as well. So I went through a couple different versions of this solution here. Again, if you use the whole time and just this equation, you probably got an answer of around 62 meters. In reality, that can't be right because its velocity is going up. And so if you used its initial velocity up as positive, time is positive, acceleration down is negative, the total time here, you would have actually gotten 0 meters if you did this for 3.78 seconds. But for 3.56 seconds. But for 1.78 seconds, we get this answer either way. So I hope that helps. If you have questions, we'll go over them in class.